What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Black Belt Business Podcast. I'm your host, Elliot Marshall, and it is my goal with each episode of this podcast to share the stories, strategies, tactics, tools, and resources that will help you establish or grow your martial arts school. The Black Belt Business Podcast is brought to you by Easton.Online. You can find all of our digital courses, martial arts curriculums, and resources designed to help you enhance your business at Easton.Online. So without further ado, let's jump into the episode. All right, guys, we're going to start this podcast and do this podcast like we've been doing the other ones that Jordan and Phipps and I have been doing, in the sense of like we're going to try to get like really, really basic, right? Like we've talked about core values, we've talked about all this stuff, like on this broad sense, structure, and you know. But the truth of the matter is, most people who are going to listen to this podcast, they don't have more than, for sure, not more than 2 schools, right? So, org chart, and as important as it is, right? The org chart and there's some layers below that, like when you're opening a school that you have to you can't miss, right? You can't miss. So we're going to kind of go into that a little bit and continue down that route. We're going to start, and this is a little bit of what, like one of the things we're offering right now is this, how to open your school with 100 members, like, 75 to 100 members before you even open. Or if you are, if you've been, if you're open and you've been open a year and you got 20 members, 30 members, right? How to get to 100 pretty quickly, right? Pretty quickly. So let's get going on this. This is what we've figured out, I would say, after opening them many different ways. Yeah?
Yeah.
And we used to open how? Just open, get members. Right? That's...
I don't know. I don't know if that's exactly how we used to open. I wasn't part of opening Boulder, Denver, and Centennial because that was prior to 2010 before I got involved.
Right.
And then we didn't open a school until after we purchased one of the ones that Amal had a minority ownership from in 2017. Yeah. Right. So when we brought Arvada under the wings in 2017, I have no idea what happened before that.
Boulder was Amal was teaching out of a karate school, had some members open to school.
Yeah, of course he did but I'm saying as far as like what happened, so that was in 1998. I don't know how we did Centennial in Denver. I'm guessing it's like open and see what happens.
Students. I was there. I didn't do it. But
yeah, I was training with us during that time, and like teaching a little bit, but I don't know what his process was. It was him and Steve Lieberman kind of handling that and just putting in general managers to do the role. So
it was open. It was open. I know what it was open.
Yeah.
Pay rent. Have some TI where you're not paying rent maybe or whatever. Some months and get students till you cover your bills.
And of course, in a mall, I remember when we were opened, the first one collectively was Littleton in 2018, and. And before that, we also had expanded Denver and Boulder. So Denver went from, 3,000 square feet to 10,000 square feet in 2012. And obviously we had to figure out some promotions to get students there, which we didn't do that great of a job. I think we stuck at like 400 members in a 10,000 square foot place for a while. Like we added a couple hundred members.
We got up to 600. And then when all of those shitty members kind of left.
The 600 were like the $75 membership prices that didn't really move the needle, right? Because that's what we thought we needed to do,
right?
And I think Boulder, we also did when we moved from Boulder, a 3,000 square foot spot, or 4,000 to 10,000. We also had some cheaper priced memberships for kickboxing and CrossFit, and that was how we were like going to inflate our numbers, and we did some promotional stuff around that.
Right.
But we didn't really have anything dialed or a system in place. And it's gotten more systematized throughout. And there's 2 factors. There's obviously many factors. But when we started Littleton, I think the first thing you have to tag is, who is your general manager going to be? Like, unless you're the owner and you want to be the general manager.
Which I think is most people's case.
Yep.
You're the owner, general manager.
Which is great, because then you don't have to worry about, because the GM makes most of the money. The owner doesn't make really any money it's a small amount of money that comes out for the owners out of the schools if you have a GM in place, because the GM makes the majority of the money because they're running the school. Until you get like a really big school, but like the smallest schools, like a GM will often make you have to pay them well to take care of that school.
Look, for example, we just took a distribution from Littleton, which is a school we're about to talk about here, opening it. And we take this quarterly.
Yeah.
Right? Owner's not running the school. I mean, what was it, $8,000? Something like that.
I just did it this morning. You think I would remember it? But yeah,
it was something in there.
Yeah, it's probably $8,000, $8 or $9,000.
$8 or $9,000. So I mean, like, and that's way better than it was.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, I mean, $9,000 times 4 is $36,000.
Yeah, so, and you got to say, and half 40% that's going to taxes.
Right.
So $36,000, and then you take 40% out of that.
Right, but let's just look at income.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like so it's not a ton of money.
Yeah.
Right. To have someone running your school. So like what Mike's saying here, I agree with. Right. Like when you're an owner, you're not the GM. You better have some money somewhere else if you're not.
Yeah. You know? If you ran Littleton by yourself as the general manager, and you paid yourself a reasonable general manager pay, we'll say, I don't know, that can range anywhere from 60 to 100 grand, we'll say,
right,
depending on the size of the school. That'd be 60 to 100 grand, we'll say, great. And then on top of that, you're still trying to make 15 to 20% margins. So then as an owner, you get to pull out 20%. So that's great money. You can make a couple $100,000 a year as owning one small school if you're GMing it.
Right.
You know, and we pay our staff well. Ian and I've done a lot of research on market pay, and we are above the market in just about every area. Across the board when it comes to paying staff. So that's key. All right, let's go back.
Yeah.
So Littleton, this is where we started to really figure things out. And if you're going to be the GM, that's great, because you have to make sure you have a leader in place that's going to handle all the grunt work in the beginning and the sales and the teaching and the memberships. So, got to really peg that person that can teach classes, do admin, do sales. And if it's you, that's great. So the second stage is you got to find the location. Right. And you can market a little bit before the location. Just don't put any hard dates in place. Like, hey, this built some hype. We built hype for like 3 years for Lowry. Because we couldn't find a spot there.
I'm in the middle. I just showed you guys what we're doing with basketball. And it's been 2 months. And my wife is just losing her mind the whole 2 months that it's never going to happen. But she's never done commercial before. Right. Like I always handled. Like before you, I handled the real estate of like finding it, and then we did it together with them all, right? And Denver took 7 months to find the building. Boulder took 1.5 years.
Yeah.
And Lowry took,
3 years.
3 years. But, we got to give some credit for the pandemic. So my wife is like losing her mind over 2 months. She's like, this is never going to happen. I'm like, you need to relax. Okay? Because this is commercial real estate. So. Yeah,
that's commercial. Exactly. And sometimes you just fall on a spot and you're like, oh, this is the right one. And that's how commercial works. It's the Wild West.
We had a right one, and then it wasn't the right one.
Yeah, we've had a couple that we're super close on. It just didn't work.
Right.
And to be Elliot's really good at deal making. Like he should probably I should find it, then I should have him fight with the landlord or the realtor or the landlord, just because it's more fun to watch and he's good at it. But I'm trying to get practice in it. Anyway. So you find your location, finally, that's great. Now, once you find your location, everything ramps up, So you're trained on how to do everything as a general manager, owner. You start building all these things to make sure on opening day you're ready to launch. You can build the schedule. You can figure out who's going to take every position. And you may have done this previously, like who's going to teach kids, who's going to be my assistant, what can we afford, do we need a front desk right away? All these little things are just like you have like these the diagram in front of you, and you just fill the boxes.
I want to cut you off, Mike. I want to get back to this.
Yeah.
How do we open? What's the process that we go through?
Yeah, I'm getting there. So we have to make sure we have the jobs set up. So then once that's done, we know who we're going to hire because we want to make sure we can fill this place. Now, the big thing here is marketing, right? And marketing only works that business quadrant that we love so much. It's like marketing, process, culture, sales. You have to have all those in place before you market, right? You have to make sure your culture is going to be on point. You have to make sure your processes are solid, and then you have to make sure that you have to make sure you have a great product, right? So you have to make sure those are in place, and then you can start marketing. And if you're going to open a school, you better fucking have all those in place. Most people don't, as I know, because I'm already talking to some right now that have no idea what they're doing. And they're just opening, even when we give them the resources. But regardless, so we know we're doing those things. Perfect. And now it's time to bring in our ads and our specials. And this is the key that has changed the game for us. So this is the money. This is right here. And I got this from Core Power. We had a friend that was corporate in Core Power, one of the first founders of Core Power, or one of the first franchisers. She had 34 Core Powers at one point. She's amazing. So I asked her how she did it. And she's like, man, you just try to get to X amount of members before you open your doors. And this is where we came up with our marketing plan. We shifted it a little bit, but it's worked really well. And it's all done via this social media, right? And some paid social media, even though it's expensive. And then it's Google AdWords. And we work with this guy, Iggy, and Ian, and Phipps. Work closely with him. And we've used this for a bunch of different businesses as well. And the setup is, okay, we're going to, behind the scenes, we say, okay, we're going to try to get to 100 members. How do we get to 100 members? Well, first of all, we want to make sure we don't just give a $99 membership for life, because that's one of the biggest mistakes people make.
This was what we did.
Mm-hmm. And then they're stuck at $99 forever, and you're like, fuck, it's so hard to change the price.
Let's stay on this for a second, right? Because we are going to talk about giving cheap memberships here, right? They cannot stay cheap, because these members in general are terrible members.
And if you didn't know that before, right, I could see you making this mistake in the early 2000s, even in the 2010s. But with inflation, with the post-pandemic, with pricing, you know that now. God damn, you all fucking know that now because of inflation, how fucked you are with all low-price members. So you are very aware of it when you're trying to pay your bills, and everything's got out in price, and everybody's paying the same price. You have to move the needle a little bit. So we are trying to. We've had to make some fixes at our old schools, like legacy schools, and we've done it. We've increased the prices for those legacy members. We had to, just to stay afloat.
It's impossible to do business. I'm going to say, if you have any member, not a family member, right, just like a single human training under 150. If you're under 150, there is no way in the world. Consistently under 150. Yep. There's no way in the world that you can stay in business. Like, it's just...
If you can live off of $10,000 a year,
yeah,
gross.
But that's not staying in business. You're not... Yeah, okay, sure. If you can live off... If your spouse is a billionaire or a millionaire,
yeah,
and they just are fine with you doing whatever the hell you want...
Then it's not a fucking business. You just have a hobby. You have
yes.
like one of those boutiques on Main Street, and
right.
you know, that doesn't make any money, but it's your hobby. That's a total different thing. If you're trying to have a real business, you can't... And you want to have a life that's successful, and the way we define life that's successful is like you're able to buy a house, you're able to put savings away for the future, you're able to go on trips. Like, success can be defined however you like, but you have a point where you can start purchasing a house and have a savings for retirement, and you can not worry about living every moment in fear of going broke. Like, that's how I define. There's many ways I define success, but for like as a business, how we can help our staff, I always look at like how many of our full-time employees are buying houses. You know, because it's fucking hard to buy a house. And if we ever see a bunch of full-time employees buying houses, I'm like, fucking A, we're doing something right. That makes me super proud. I digress. So going back to this
cheap memberships, go ahead.
You cannot offer memberships at $99 in perpetuity, right? That is just not something that is going to help your business in the long run. But what you can do is get them in the door, your members in the door at a low price rate, right? And then they all shift. And let's walk through this process real quickly. So we have 100 memberships available. We're trying to get low rates on. So the first thing we do, hey, the first 25 members that purchase before we open, right, $99, you know? For
6 months.
6 months, yeah. And we open on January 1st. Your membership, whenever you purchase, it goes up to full price, which is this price, on June 1st. So that's a 6 month, or maybe July 1st.
July 1st.
And then after we hit that 25 benchmark, and this number 25 is loose. You can kind of move it back and forth behind the scenes, but it's a call to action for the members to make sure they get on the deal.
So what we're saying is the first 25 people get this lowest price deal. The first 30 people,
founding members,
whatever number you want to give it, you figure this out, right? And we'll help you figure this out, right? We have a whole program based on this. We have our guys, so we'll sit down with you and figure this out for you if you want some help with it. But first, it's that.
Yep. And then once you hit that 25 number base, like, okay, cool, we have some money coming in, or they're going to have money coming in. They've already signed the agreement. They've agreed to everything. You did the intro at another school, or you just did it over the phone, and they're just stoked to sign up and be part of it. And they'll sign up, and their first payment is due to come out the day we open. So then they can start training.
Ooh, we do the day we open.
I think so. Maybe
no,
sometimes
I think we
the day
do
before.
it right away.
Yeah, maybe right away. We've shifted. We do it right away, and then the next payment comes out a month after we're open.
A month after they open.
Okay, sorry. There's been a few different ways it's shifted. And then after that, it's like, okay, we hit 25. Next tier is $130 or $180 or $200. Whatever you have tiers all the way up to 100, and every 25 is where you make it more. Once you're like, okay, let's move it to that next layer of 25, so 26 to 50, flew out the door as well at $125. Awesome. Let's move this one to 175. So 50 to 75 is 175, and they fly out the door. And at this point, you're probably not going to be breaking even, depending on your expenses, but you might be if you're the GM. So what you want to be covering by the time you open doors is you're close to covering your salaries and your rent, and then your very bare minimum expenses. You're not going to get your return on investment right away. So if you put $100,000 into a school, you can expect to have that back in a year or 3 years, depending on how quick you can pay it off. But you want to be our goal is to be in the black in 3 months. I think Lowry was October, November, December, January, February or January. It was in the black this month. So month 4 was in the black. So we got in that realm. To be fair, this is something that's important to note. We have 7 locations, so some of the stuff is subsidized for Lowry. That being said, if you're a single owner opening a school, you won't be paying a GM. We have a GM and a main staff person, and that costs us $6,000 a month at least, maybe more.
We have a GM and an owner.
Yeah.
Who was a very long time loyal employee.
Yeah.
That we would do it again. I would do it again in a heartbeat with Junior because we love him, right? So your costs are going to be way different than our costs.
Yes.
You're going to run your school. So you should probably get black. Like you got to look like $6,000. We're paying $6,000 of a salary on month 1.
Yeah, we're at a $6,000 salary and a $10,000 rent. So we're at $16,000 monthly without any other costs.
Right. So, let's just say your rent is $10,000. Let's keep the rent even. If you're paying yourself $6,000 a month on day 1, you're doing pretty fucking well.
And you can do the math here.
Right.
Like you can figure out, you can manipulate the numbers to what you need to be in the black sooner than later. I do think it's always important, depending on your philosophy on cash flow and risk. I think a more experienced business should have a lot more cash in the bank for long-term worries and COVIDs. But I think the newer, for you, if you're starting a business, you should have, I think, a 3 to 6 month runway. Just so you don't screw yourself. Some people keep years of runway if you have investors or all that stuff. We go in with spending everything and leaving like a month's runway because we believe in our processes, and we can always subsidize and help out. But I think a 6 month runway is safe. If you follow our processes, you could probably go down to 3 months. We get by for the past 3 we've opened with a 1 month runway, and we've only done a cash call for one of those one time because we had a GC that just, it was great. It was just, they're more expensive than what we're used to. I've GC'd the past 2 projects.
So, again, just to reiterate, tiered memberships, right? So first of all, you set how low can you go almost?
Yeah. I wouldn't go below 99.
Yeah.
But,
right. I don't even think we go 99. I think we do 119 now.
I think you're right, actually.
So, we normally go, I think the 99 was when we were at 200, right? So we normally do a 50% off there, right?
Yeah. All right.
So right around 50% off for 6 months. Okay, it ends after 6 months, and we only sell a certain amount. So when you're talking to somebody, and they're like, "Well, I'm definitely going to do it. Let me see." You're like, "Look, I got 5 left."
This is going to save you $50 a month for 6 months.
For 6 months, it's going to save you $300. So, and do we do a money back guarantee? Like, can they cancel it or can they not cancel it?
They can cancel. There's not a money back guarantee, but they can cancel without their next payment coming.
Without their next payment going through. So the risk is kind of worth it when you get on the phone, right? So, and you tier it all the way up, and then when you hit the 100. If you hit 100 before you open the door, everyone else is full price.
And you can shift that. If you decide like, hey man, we're crushing this and we're only at 80, let's fucking move to full price because people are signing up left and right. And the biggest thing here that people are going to miss is like, if say your tiers move to full price for everyone July 1st, even if you're still, and you open January 1st and you're still offering discounted rates February 1st, even those people in February, it's not a 6-month, right? Everybody moves to full price July 1st. It's not like everybody gets 6 months. It's like, no, July 1st, everybody moves. It's way easier for accounting, and just on July 1st that boom, 6 months, you're going to get a massive boost in revenue, assuming everybody stuck around. And we've had no complaints. We've had and I don't think any cancels because of this, because people that don't love it, they cancel early, and everybody else loves it. They have no problem. They're stoked to pay for what they love.
If you have an existing school, okay, with members already, and this is one of the problems, this is one of the questions that people ask us when they start working with us. Hey, I've been open for a year and a half and I've got 30, blah, blah, blah. And I have my members paying this. How do, my full price is $150, and I'm going to offer this membership at $99 for 6 months. What do I do with my existing members? Look, the answer to this question is these new people, these people that you're bringing in at $99, their price, their full price, you have to move your full price. So you might allow your old members to stay at $150, let's say. Okay? But the new people, when they hit that full price in that 6 month point, it's got to be $175. So your new people are used to your existing people. You can be like, look, I can give you this deal. It's going to save you $300, but then it's going to cost you on the back end. And then in 8 months, you're going to be losing now, right? So
yeah, I also think that is a fear that I used to run in my ignorant young age stages of being a general manager. I used to, what do we do with all the members that are paying these prices? I used to have that fear, but then I started living in the world and realizing that sales happen all the time. Like I'll buy a $200 sweatshirt. That doesn't happen, but I'm just looking at a sweatshirt that I love that Mike Phipps has. But he has this awesome sweatshirt. But anyway, and you buy this, and the next day it's on sale for $100. Like, fuck, I missed the sale. That's just life, man. Like, you can't predict the market. You can't predict what's going to happen. You can't predict, and that's just the way it is. And and what's going to happen is I wouldn't worry about it. And if somebody is worried about it, they'll come to you and have a conversation, and then you deal with it case by case. But you can't worry about those things in the moment, and you just deal with them case by case.
For our other Easton.Online clients, this has crushed it. Nobody takes it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, look, their price is going to be higher than your price at the end of this.
Do people actually come and ask?
Oh, yeah.
Really? We do specials like this all the time. Nobody ever says anything.
Yeah, I fielded 2 people in the entire time I was GMing.
Yeah.
Ran into this way.
Right.
We had 1,000 members at that school.
I get it, but we had 2 with Easton.Online. It's like, how do you deal with this? And you deal with it like this.
You beat up your members more and show them how valuable your place is.
I did. We're going through some construction in Denver right now, and it's a little bit of a mess. It'll be over by the time this podcast airs, so I can say it's a fucking mess. And I was giving a speech at the end of the class. I was like, guys, if you want your memberships prorated, we totally understand. I'll just offer everyone a free private. We'll train the whole fucking time. So
if your value's there and your product's there, the people that will come to you that ask for that, you can have the conversation. But
right.
I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. It's often got to be people that you wouldn't mind losing anyway.
All right, so that's the process. That's what it is. Now we're going to move to Ian here a little bit. What you can't do is, Ian, call me. This is what you can't do. Ring, ring.
Ring, ring.
Hi, Elliot, Easton Training Center.
Hi, I'm looking to do some jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, we have this special going on. It's $99 the first month. It's for your first 6 months, and then it's going to move up to on July 1st. It's going to move up to $179, and then you'll be training. Sound good? You want to sign up?
This is literally how Elliot sells. You're just like, oh fuck, okay, where do I sign?
Good. No.
So one of my good friends, David Efremi. Remember David Efremi?
Yeah.
He donated to the nonprofit that I have set up, and I went and saw him yesterday to pick up the check, and he literally said that's what I did to him. He was like, "Not bad. You don't got to go home and talk to your wife." He's like, I was like, "What do you got to talk to your wife about?" And he was like, "Okay, I'll sign up."
Everybody has their own way of selling.
Yeah.
You know.
So anyway, you can't do that, right? You can't do that. So now we're going to talk about this process of when you're on the phone with somebody, when you're talking with somebody, right? In the beginning, how you go about actually making them feel comfortable about selling. And this is more Ian's expertise. So when somebody calls Ian, I think one of the biggest mistakes that we see on the front end right away is you do what I just did. You start info dumping, right? You just start telling them what you have to offer, how great you are. and all this stuff. And they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the first thing is we're working on this a lot right now. It's thinking about how you want somebody to feel, right? It's like when somebody calls, there's the objective, right? Of course, we want them to come in and do an intro class and then sign up. But the question is, how do we get there effectively? And I think it's trying to, we want to instill a feeling in people where they feel that they feel very valued right away, right? So you want to have you want people answering the phone, like, the other thing you'll hear a lot, and I'm sure some of our listeners will probably immediately self-identify with this. You'll just hear people, if you call martial arts academies, people won't even say that you are already 50% better than many because you said your name and the school, whereas you'll call a lot of schools and it'll just be like, hello? And you're like, is this a martial arts school? So you have to, it's like, hi, thanks for calling Easton Training Center. My name's Ian. How can I help you? Right? You ask a question. And we talk a lot about asking open-ended questions, not yes or no questions, because... Let's
go over this for a second. Open-ended versus yes or no.
Yeah.
What's an open-ended question?
So an open-ended question is,
Give me an example.
That's what I just asked you. I say, hey, how can I help you?
How can I help you?
Yeah, that's different than can I help you?
No.
Right? Yeah, it shuts the conversation down. And there's a lot of... I've been thinking a lot about this. There's all these different, you can read a lot of sales literature that has all these little... I want to almost say gimmick. It can seem gimmicky. Get them to say yes over and over, or get
3 yeses. We hear this all the time. Get 3 yeses.
Right, or even even the ask open-ended questions versus yes or no questions. The answer, the question is begged to be asked. Well, why? Well, and it's because people simply like to talk about themselves, right? When you ask an open-ended question, you get, first of all, much more detailed answers that give you more information to then work off of, right? And it gets people talking. You get to listen to people actually tell you why they want to be there. So great open-ended questions that we like to ask are, how can we help you? What made you pick up the phone and call us today, right?
Why do you want to train?
Why do you want to train? Have you trained before? Or if you have trained before, where? You can learn, you can glean a lot of information from people that way. But I think the biggest thing is how do you want people to feel? How do you want people to feel when they call you? You want them to feel valued. And this should be true every step of the way. So something else we've been focusing, it's very easy to focus on the sale itself, right? The moment the person walks up to the desk after they've done their class, and it's almost an illusion. It's like, this is the make or break moment. Can we get them to sign on the dotted line? Well, that has already been happening since the initial phone call, right? The moment someone gets in touch with your company, with your school, you want that moment and then onwards to feel a certain way. And so the orientation class, right? And this is another important thing to talk about.
We'll get there.
Yeah, having an orientation class, having that be awesome, having people feel, you really want people teaching who make other people feel like they can do it. So
I think one of the big questions that we really like to ask, and we train people, especially in this 100-member thing, right? When we don't have a school yet, we're going to have to do a lot of this work kind of over the phone, is why do you want to train? And this is the open-ended question that's really big that can really help with the rest of the conversation, right? Because some people, we hear a host of things. I want to fight in the UFC. I want to be a jiu-jitsu champion. I'm getting bullied. I need self-esteem. I need this, right? Mm-hmm. And then that question really leads into the rest of the conversation. Because if somebody says that they want to fight in the UFC, you're not going to start talking about the cardiovascular benefits of training jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai or whatever your school is. Because if they say they want to fight in the UFC, you're going to talk more about the combat aspect a little bit. Have you trained before? No. Have you wrestled, right? You're going to start to go down to what have you done and why do you want to fight in the UFC?
Right.
And how we can help you. I guess the open-ended questions, they solve problems. They help us solve the problem that this person's looking for.
It builds rapport too.
Right. And this, yeah, go ahead.
No, I think another thing that's important is like, even there when I was like, let me give you some examples, some open-ended questions. I accidentally asked a closed question, right?
Which was?
I think I said, have you trained before? Right? That's a yes or no question.
But that's a good yes or no
Well, and
question.
here's the kind of the thing. It's like it's very easy to get stuck on these rules and to miss the bigger picture, right? So the rules help, right? It's a habit to ask open-ended questions, and you want to develop that muscle. You want to flex it. You want to have that become ingrained in your team. But the bigger picture, I think what we're really trying to develop is rapport, like Mike said. It's
right.
and it's showing people that we really care about why they're here. And so to your point, and it's a very important one, one thing I see a lot is people asking questions just to ask questions and not listening to the answer.
Right.
You have to actually engage.
This is life, though.
It is.
Yeah, I did a role play yesterday in Longmont for the whole team to show them about how to do the gis and all that stuff.
Sure.
And so let's look at this as martial arts for a second. We have our beginner teachers, right, teach a certain way. We want them sticking almost to a script because they have to learn how it's done. Like, this is the structure you follow. Don't deviate at all. Shut the fuck up. Don't deviate at all, right? Like, same thing with the white belt on the mat. I don't care yet. Just get through this. There's obviously some subtleties to this, but the idea is like, learn this based the way we teach it. Just that's it, right? And the same thing when you're having a front desk person learn, you have to teach them the very basics so they understand. Like, it's like biology 101, right? Or spelling. Like, you got to teach them the very basics before they can start writing poetry, right? Right? Before they can start doing like high level math. Like, you got to start +1 + 1. There's no different way to do 1 + 1. So in this sense, you're not wrong in saying, hey, this is how you do it. No, I want, here's your script. Here's your yes and no questions you can ask. Here's the open-ended question, and you're going to ask it in this order, in this timing, in this blah, 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 right? There's very few people that can just riff and go right from the beginning. Once you can riff, that means you have a mastery around it. So like, I can fuck up a sale and I can recover immediately because I know exactly how to, like, for
you know where you fucked up.
Well, exactly. So here's the question. I was telling a gi to Phil, and I was like, oh man, you look like an A3. And he's like, well, actually I'm an A2, man. And I was like, oh man, you look jacked. I just figured you were an A3 because of those muscles. It's like, if you can get comfortable pivoting in the moment and you have a response, you can riff. But you got to get comfortable first before you start riffing.
We would never let our salesperson say you're an A3. Like that, right? Like that's not in the script because that can make somebody feel bad. You bring out the wrong size, right? But you can adjust, right? You made it good. In the beginning, you're so nervous about just doing the thing.
Yeah,
right?
I was there.
You're just like, oh God, fuck, I said the wrong thing, and it just goes bad, right? So you have a script for your people. When you have this script, you might be on a phone call for 10 minutes, and it's like, it can be really hard to follow a script. So with Easton.Online and the clients we have, I stole this model when I did my TED Talk, right? Like, because whenever you have to give a speech, if you have to give a 15-minute speech, everyone's like, holy shit, how the hell am I going to memorize a 15-minute speech? And the way speech memorizing is done is you break it down into blocks. Block 1, block 2, block 3, block 4, right? And in block 1, I tell these stories. In block 2, I these, right? And then you learn the blocks. How do you learn the blocks? Well, first you learn block 1. Right? For us, block 1 is the information gathering. Name, phone number, email, why you're training. Right? And when you're training your staff, it's like, hey, just learn this. Right? Just learn how to keep asking these questions. Great. And then you stop. And you just learn block 2. And block 2 starts with going off of why you're training. What are you looking for? Are you currently training anywhere? Blah, blah, blah. Right? This is the building rapport stage, we call it. More building of the rapport. And then there's one more stage, which is going to be the setting of the appointment, the sale, whatever it is. In both sales and setting appointment here, it's the close, whether it's setting the appointment or the making the sale. And the big mistake that people do is they go right on to block 3, and that's a mistake. You got to put 1 and 2 together. You got to go, this is how I open, right? Information gathering. And then you go right into report. So you put the 2 together, and they can memorize that. And then you stop and you memorize only block 3, and then you put it all together. And this is this is very helpful because it's just like, oh, okay, you don't have to memorize the whole thing. You just got to memorize this. And then after this, I say this. Rather than, all right, I got to follow these fucking questions. Fuck, okay, fuck. Like, you've been on a podcast before, right? You guys have been on a podcast. But when the podcast person is like, how did you get into martial arts? You answer the question. How long have you been training? What made you want to open a school? Like, it's awful.
Dude, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. I've been obsessed with conversations with Tyler. He's like Ian kind of got me onto him with Phil. He's this famous economist and high-level intellectual thinker, polymath. And he calls it conversation with Tyler, but he only asks questions just like that. And he has on every brilliant person in the world, and that's how he does it. So I actually been moving my podcasts to that style, and I got some of the coolest shit out of it. It's genuine. It's genuine. I tell them, like, hey, we're doing this a little bit different today. And I fire off it from, instead of a conversation, I just ask them questions. And I'll relate occasionally, but it has been interesting because the reason, we're getting off topic, but reason he does it is because he's like, man, I don't give a fuck if anybody listens to my podcast. I have this brilliant person on here, and I want to know, these are all things I want to know how they think. And he uses it as a study to learn about these brilliant people. And you're like, whoa.
He put real time and effort into those questions, though.
Yeah, he does. He reads all their books. He does a bunch of research.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's like, I had Jason Anton on, and I did a bunch of research before I asked him these questions.
If you're going to do real work.
Yeah, you have to do the work. You can't just ask.
On the podcast, you can't have a generic 10 questions
no,
for the same
no
people.
Way, that's awful.
No, right?
It's also a completely different paradigm.
Right.
Like, this is not, someone's looking for a way to get involved in something that we offer, and we're trying to show them that we have what they're looking for, you know? And so it's a little bit different, but I think, one of the things I was thinking about, because Mike, both of your points I think are absolutely right. You need to have, in the beginning, you need to have a script, and, you can call it blocks or a skeleton, right? It's like, but it's an order of operations, how to move through the conversation. But one of the biggest things to look for, because I think there's so many details here. First of all, obviously, we offer that script. Like, you can see ours.
We have it for you. You do if you're needing this,
right?
But if you need to add members, if you need, this is all done for you. You don't have to come up with any of this stuff. The ads that Mike was talking about, like, literally, you just take ours, you replace our logo with your logo, and it's done. Right? Like, there is nothing to this for you other than you're going to have to learn how to talk on the phone with people. Yeah. But we have the script for you. So we're just talking about in generals of them, but this is all done for you.
Yeah, but one of the things that I think is so important, and like, you can see this immediately. So if you're watching your person who's doing the sale do the sale, you can just step back, forget the details for a moment, and look at how enthusiastic the person is giving the sale. Right, like this is probably you can get away with not being completely on point with everything you say if you look like you really want to be there.
Yeah.
Right, like and like enthusiasm and charisma and just like someone who looks like they genuinely care. That really goes a very long way. There's nothing worse than talking to someone who you feel like you're kind of a nuisance. Like,
dude, yeah.
And there's really nothing worse than that, and we see it. I feel like we see it more and more. Like, you go to restaurants, it's all the time now. You feel like you're a bother or a burden, and that
you're serving them, and you're like, why am I coming here?
Go to a Michelin-star restaurant, spend the money, and check it out, and you will see what it's like for them to be proud of what they do. And the magic bullet that we have at Easton, at actually any martial arts school, I shouldn't just say Easton, is that the people that work for us that want to start teaching classes or doing intros, they should be so proud. I mean, when I started Easton, I would buy. We had no retail, but I would grab every T-shirt. I would only wear Easton shirt around town. Like, look, I do jiu-jitsu. I'm so fucking cool. I'm part of this club. And that are the people you want in there, because they'll find their voice and they'll be so. I remember it was almost 20 years ago. I remember every aspect of my intro at Easton. Every single moment with this guy. Mike was a purple belt. I know where we were standing, what he said to me, and I have a shitty memory. But I remember this is like the day that I lost my virginity. That's what exactly it is. Like, it was that profound because he was so charismatic and he cared. And like, you can make anything fucking wonderful if you care, right? That's all it takes is caring. And
I mean, look, that's how we're here.
Yeah,
we just all gave a shit so much about one, the thing, two, each other, right? Like, and then the business.
Do we want to see it role played out? Should we just role play like a phone call, and then like?
Yeah, no, one thing, Mike, like I just want to like touch on the point you just made, because I thought it was a really, really good one. Like about how impactful the orientation was. I had the same experience. Like with,
you had Finney, right?
With Finney, you know, and it's funny because I see Finney a lot. Finney's like a good friend of mine now. And I will say to him often, like, man, you have no idea, like, how basically much you mean to me, because you changed my life forever. And it's almost like I say it and he's not really hearing it. He's like, oh, yeah, cool, man. I'm really glad I was able, you know, I'm like, no, really, I need you to stop and listen to what I'm telling you. You know, like my whole life changed in that half hour. And it changed because it wasn't because he asked open-ended questions.
No, we didn't do any of this.
It wasn't because he asked, you know, it really, you know, and again, all that is important. But what he did was made me feel like, you know, another way to put it, like, man, he made me feel special. Like, he, like, made me feel like I mattered. He also made me feel like I could do it, because I was, like, still an athletic guy. Like, I was done playing college sports. And the reason I say that is because even for me, the first day I walked in there, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. You know, I had that real doubt. And of course, and a lot of people walk into a martial arts school with this it's like this bravado, but it's insecurity masked. And you need to really be able to understand that, and to show everyone that walks in, whether they're clearly an athlete or they're not, that you genuinely believe that they can do it, because that matters a lot.
Yeah, I want to give one more story on this.
Yeah.
And it's about Seth Daniels, who we love and is a maniac. But everyone knows who Seth Daniels is, right? He's kind of famous in the jiu-jitsu scene, right? Fight to Win, AVCC, and he called me the other day, a couple months ago, and you know, I love Seth, and he was difficult all in the same.
He'll probably be the first to admit that he's difficult.
Oh, he knows he's difficult. Yeah, this is nothing that we haven't joked about or talked about. So there's like, and he's like, hey man, you know, we were talking about something. He's like, I need some help with this, and like, is there any way I can get my second stripe on my black belt, or maybe his first stripe? I'm not sure which one it was. I think it's his second. But I said, yeah, of course. And we set a date and time, and he missed the first one, and then he came to the second one, and I was really shocked that he cared so much, because he was adamant about getting it from us. Adamant. And when he got up and like got his stripe and he said something, he was like, look, and I'll say this part. He didn't say this part, because I said this when I gave it to him. I was like, Seth could get his stripe from anybody.
Yeah. Like
Seth, like, you know, he's going to dinner with the Sheikh sometimes. He's for ADCC, he could get his second stripe literally from anybody. And he was at a place where they were going to give him his second stripe, and then he said no. And he was like, look, they changed my kid's life. He said nothing about him. He's like, I thought my kid was going to like either kill himself or be a school shooter. And he's not that anymore. And the only reason he's not that, it's not me, it's not his mom, it's not his stepmom, it's Easton. It is what they did for him inside those walls. And like, holy fuck, that's like, if, man, like, Mike, you got kids. Like, if you thought your kid was going that downhill, and some place turned that around because they cared so much, like, you would do anything for them.
Yeah,
you would do anything for them over yourself, right?
Of course.
So at the end of the day, you can butcher all the stuff we're talking about. You can butcher this role play that we're about to do. If you really care, it's a wrap.
And people see that.
Yeah.
People see how genuine it is. Like I when I started doing role playing, my first one, I stormed out because I was so embarrassed. I couldn't get it right. I was cursing at everybody. I was like, fuck you, fuck this. It was awful. And now I'm like, you want me to role play? I'll role play with you. And I don't even remember what we're supposed to do anymore because I haven't done it in years. But I get so excited to role play, like an intro, a phone call, whatever it is, because it's cool.
Let's role play this sale on the phone of the special. Let's say this is the first person to call you. You're not open yet, okay? And I don't think any of us have ever done this. I've never role-played this. Have you role-played this?
Not this particular.
No, we have not.
No, we have not role-played this.
can
So,
give it a shot. But
yeah.
so you're calling. This is the first.
I'm Elliot Marshall.
Yeah,
I saw the Facebook ad
Okay.
that you have a special going on, and you're going to open the school. Let's pretend it's November.
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to open the school January 1st, just for easy numbers.
And then it's 6 months.
6
$99.
months, 99. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
All right.
it's
Yeah,
July
you can-
1st.
July
it goes.
1st, it will go up.
Yeah,
You know. All right. So look, this is how much we haven't done this.
Mm-hmm.
The three of us. If you want help, the person that has trained you will definitely have done this. Okay. But we have never done this because we have never been the one answering the phone on these calls. We don't do that. So, all right, I'm gonna go ring ring. Ian's gonna answer the phone. Here we go. Ring ring.
Hi. Well, thanks for calling Easton Training Center. This is Ian speaking. How may I help you?
Hi. Yeah. I was just scrolling Facebook.
Okay.
And I saw an ad that said you're opening literally down the street from me in January, and I've always wanted to do jiu-jitsu. And it said something about like a special or something.
Sure.
Like, what do we got?
Well, first of all, hey, can I ask your name?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. What an asshole of me. My name's Elliot Marshall.
Well, hi, Elliot. First of all, thanks for calling, and we're
Yeah.
super stoked. We're opening up our new location in Lowry, so I really appreciate you calling. You said you saw us on social media.
Yeah, I saw it on social media. Yeah.
Okay. Right on. Well, so cool. Yeah, we're getting ready to open our doors. And is it okay if I ask you a couple questions? I think the first thing you said you're interested in jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
How'd you hear about jiu-jitsu, and have you done it before? I'd just love to hear a little bit more about you and what.
Yeah, I've never done jiu-jitsu before.
Okay.
And I've always wanted to, right? And I've always had all these excuses, right? Like I love to watch the UFC. I don't want to get punched. So
Sure.
I don't want to do that part, right? But I was an athlete when I was younger, but I'm 40 now. I got a couple kids. I would love to get them into it, maybe, but it's football season right now, going into basketball, so we'll see. But then like, man, when I was scrolling my feed, it was just like boom, and I was like, man, here's my opportunity.
Sure. Well, yeah. Well, obviously that's all awesome, and I can actually personally relate to that. That's how I got started. I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I got started for very similar reasons. So I think what I'd love to do is I'd love to have you come in and do an orientation class. I think that's the first step that we always recommend. That way you can come in, you can check it out. You can it's really geared towards people who have never done this. And so yeah, and then you'll take a class after that. That's where we can talk to you about what the membership looks like. But just to kind of give you, you've already kind of addressed it. We're doing it's going to be $99, right? That's and I think that it said that on the Facebook ad.
Right.
It's $99. It's going to be that until July, and then it'll move to a regular membership. But before any of that, it's super important to us that we want to be the right fit for you. So it's important to us that you come in, you try it, and we really, the reason that we like offering this special is because it gives you the opportunity to really to really try our menu and to see, to make sure it's a good fit for you. And we also obviously do have kids classes. So if that, you'd kind of mentioned wanting to get your kids involved, if that's something you'd like to do, that's certainly a possibility. But yeah, any questions about that? And can I help you in any way?
Yeah, I'd love to do the intro.
Okay, well, then we can go through the scheduling process, and I'll tell you the different times that we have. Cool.
Go.
Oh, okay,
Let's actually do it.
So
Go ahead, Mike.
I just want to pivot here. So depending on if you have a school or not, this is the special we do before we open. So there's two ways this happens. If you have no school that's open yet,
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead.
yeah, we try to do an intro at another school. So we do an intro at the closer school. Like, yeah, we can get you set up at our Denver location, whatever's closest to you, for your intro, just to try it out. Or you can wait till we open the doors, kind of thing. But we only have 25 of these spots available. So
we're gonna go no school, sell them over the phone in a second.
Yeah.
To get them signed, right? Because
there's no place to do this intro right
maybe I
now.
mess this up.
This is fine. This is one option. You have a school,
Yep.
right? And you're starting this special on January 1st to get more members.
Got it.
Okay. In a second, we'll do the no school, no place to do an intro, make the sale right now.
Got it.
Okay. But so let's finish. How do you schedule an orientation class?
Yeah. So when would typically be a good time? Is during the week good? Afternoon, evening, weekends? What would work best?
Oh,
for you?
during the week after work, please.
Okay, cool. Well, we have fundamentals class at 5 p.m. or 5:30. We have classes all week long, right? And this is where it gets hard. It depends on the schedule. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and
Just use.
Yeah. So we have Monday or Tuesday coming in doing an intro class at 5 p.m. It'd be a half-hour intro class, and the class starts at 5:30. So would 5 p.m. work for an intro class?
Yeah, I can be there at 5. What days did you say?
So we have it all. So we have Monday through Friday. We have.
Oh, I can choose any of those
yeah, you
days?
can choose any of those days. Yeah.
Tuesday.
Okay, cool. Yeah, well, let's do it. So, yeah, Elliot, I have you set up for 5 p.m. on Tuesday. We're going to give you a call the morning of just to remind you. Please feel free. You can reach out to us at any point if you have any questions from now until then. And a lot of times people have questions that they're dying to ask. So, anything that you're curious about that I can help you with right now.
I don't think so. Your address is on the website?
The address is on the website, but let me just give it to you just to make just so you have it. Yep.
Anything I need to wear?
So we're going to provide. It's going to be called a gi, which is what you're going to wear. So we're going to provide that for you. But what I would recommend, is if you have any, earrings or anything, you're not going to want to wear those during classes for safety reasons.
Right.
You can just come in comfortable gym stuff, and we're gonna take it from there.
All right. Sounds great. See you then.
Cool.
All right. Mike, you do the other one.
Okay. So I'm going to set this up a little bit differently. So if it's an ad, what usually happens is that they're going to submit a lead, and we'll get an email notification. And most people respond best via text. So we'll text them right away. I don't know about you, but when somebody calls me, unless it's like 2 or 3 people, I don't answer the phone. They have to leave me a message or text me. That's just my rule.
Mike and I have done such a great job of trying to work this out together.
But I'm busy all the time, and not in a bad way, but my life is scheduled. And if somebody calls me, unless I'm totally free, I'm not answering the phone. They better text me if it's important. No offense to anybody. That's just how I run my life. If you don't like it, you don't have to be part of my life. Anyway, so just what we're learning in this environment of sales is that not everybody, right? Elliot loves phone calls. So, I always call Elliot. His wife also loves phone calls. So it's always a phone call with those two. It's pretty funny. But with a lot of people, especially the demographics, you're going to start
I want to clarify something real fast. Mike only has to deal with my wife when we're designing a school. Yeah, she is not calling him about anything to do with the operating of the school or anything. She's an interior designer. She remodels stuff. Look, if you're married and you have a business partner, your wife does not talk to your business partner about the operating of the fucking school.
I love Renee, so it's okay. We get along really well. But yeah, they both like phone calls. So going back to what we were saying, when we get a lead, if they see it on Facebook or Google Ad, they fill it out and they give us their phone number and email. We will immediately text them, and often we'll ask their preferred message of contact, whether it's email, text, or phone. Text is great because you get through a lot of text messages really quickly. When you're opening a school like this, it's very important you get them on the phone. You can do it via text, but it gets to be very challenging to get through really the rapport building, because when your school's open, you set an appointment via text, and then they can ask the questions in person when they come to the school. But when it's pre-open and there's no place for them to go, you really want to set up that phone call, because that's when you can really build rapport. You can do it through text. If you're a stud, it just takes a long time, or a studette.
No one's giving you money over text.
It's
No one's
very
giving you
rare.
money.
I actually, we kind of changed something. We added this. We started doing 15-minute Zoom calls, and that really moves the needle.
Okay.
Yeah, because then you see them
Wow.
in person. This has been huge for another business we have where we do 30-minute consults, and that's been massive for us. So anyway, we're going to get this information via text or
And then
email.
you're gonna call. You're
And
gonna call me.
I'm going to text them first. I'm not a savage. I wouldn't just call somebody unannounced. I'm still a millennial. All right, moving.
All right, Mike.
I'm at the end of the spectrum of millennial. I know it, but I'm still a millennial.
Text me.
So I shoot a text like, hey, this is Mike with Easton Training Center Lowry. I saw you filled out a lead. I am super stoked to hear that you're interested in jiu-jitsu. I would love to give you a call and talk about our program and the special we currently have for founding members.
Great, right now.
Awesome. I'm available. Ring, ring.
Hey, this is Elliot Marshall.
Elliot, what's up? This is Mike Tousignant. We were just texting. I'm with Easton Training Center, Littleton, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our program. I already have your information on hand, so thank you for filling that out.
Awesome.
You said you're interested in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Have you done it before?
Never.
Never before?
No.
What have you been doing in the past? Like, what do you stay to stay in
I
shape?
work out. I go to the gym.
Oh, great. That'll be having some movement really helps when you get on the mat because you won't get as sore when you have already some exercise under your belt.
For sure.
So that'll be great for you. Is there anybody else that you want training with you? Friends, family?
Man, I would love for my kids to train, but we're not there yet. We're in the middle of like basketball season. So maybe after the season in the summertime. But for right now, it's just me.
No worries. No worries at all. That's great. Stoked your kid to do. I was a football player my whole life until I found jiu-jitsu. So fuck yeah. All right. So what I want to do then, man, we're not open yet. We're opening in 3 months.
Okay.
That's our predicted opening date.
Yep.
And we have the special right now, as you saw.
I saw
it's our founding member special, and we're in the first 25 tiers. We're at about, I don't know. I checked this morning. I think we're like 15 to 18 signed up in that first 25 tier.
Okay.
And what this means is we're giving this offer of like a lower price rate until July 1st. So we open January 1st, and you'll have this low price of, I think it's $99 all the way till July 1st. Then you go to our regular rate.
So I can just wait till January 1st to sign up?
You could, but by that time, we'll probably have everything sold out. So if you want to take advantage of this, we only have 25 spots available at this price range.
Okay.
There's a new tier that goes up to $150 after this.
And this one's at $99.
This is $99.
So saves me $50 a month for 6 months.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what happens is we'd set you up, get you all signed up on the agreement, pay the $99, right? And that $99 would sit with us, and you wouldn't make your second payment till February 1st of the $99. And if any time throughout here, right, you decide like, hey, I can't do this, we give you that money back, right? But we just set everything up now, so when we open doors, we'll send you an email. We're going to do a big party. You can come and just start training and not go through it all, and you already save all this money.
Oh, done. Let's go.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Okay.
Sweet. So let's just do this over the phone. I'm sitting right here. I have the app open. So what I'm going to have you do is just fill out a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
I'm going to type your credit card in, and then what's going to happen as soon as I'm done, I'm going to email you an agreement and a waiver. So just electronically sign those. I'll get those uploaded, and you're good to go. When you
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, when you come in, right? I really want you'll take your intro, right? We'll do like an intro class for everybody.
Okay.
But when you come in, you're going to want a gi, right? And I implore you to wait to try on our gis and try out our stuff so we can walk you through the process of what that looks like. Don't worry about shopping. You can shop online, but wait for us to give you all the information before you make any purchases because I want to make sure you have the most education before you make any purchases.
That was ninja at the end. The gi thing. That was solid.
I got more of this. But so, man, I just gave you a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I know that's a lot, but I wanted to make sure you heard it all.
Yeah.
Now, Ben, do you have other questions for me? Like you seem pretty like you're ready to go, so I didn't ask too much. But if you have questions, I'm down to.
No, I'm stoked. I'm ready to do it. I guess like my only other question is like how long does it take to like get good?
Well, I'm doing it 20 years,
okay.
And sometimes I don't know if I'm good or not. So it depends on.
All right.
I think the beauty of what jiu-jitsu has taught me is it's that old cliche that it's the journey.
Yeah.
And what makes Easton incredible is that there's this community that you built. I don't know if you remember back in maybe you're a part of a church or maybe in high school you had this group of friends. Something about Easton brings all that back together. You have this community there that you start with. So you're going to start, and there's going to be like 20 people you start with that you're in class with, and they're going to slowly fall off. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll stick around. But you're going to create these lifelong friends that follow you on this journey this whole entire time that you're going to be measuring yourself against. But really, you're just going to be coming in to be part of this incredible thing while building this martial art that is so foreign to what you've done the past 20 years of your life.
Okay.
That you're not going to worry about getting good. You're just going to be so excited to get back in there, get on the mat every day to just see what you've learned and test it out. So we're big fans of like this whole growth mindset. Like it's not about being good. It's about just improving every day.
And are you open yet?
January 1st.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate you texting me first. I would never have answered your phone call.
Man, of course. I want to make sure that everybody gets what they need. A big thing at Easton is that we meet people where they're at. We want to make your life as convenient as possible because we're going to fuck you up on the mats. But to be honest, like this is kind of what our philosophy is like. We want your life to be as easy as possible because we're going to make it hard on the mats. You know, so everything about Easton is about high-level customer service. We want to have this excellent experience for you, but when you get on that mats, we're going to be there. We're going to be your coach, but we're going to be hard on you. We expect the most of people that come here. You know, I like to say we have skilled killers, right? That's what we're trying to build here. You got to have the skill set, and you got to be a killer, and we're going to help you become that on the mats. Even though we're these loving people outside of it, we're going to make you tough and going to make you better every day.
Awesome. Let's go. All right, guys. I think that was a good podcast.
Sweet.
I think there's a lot of information for people. I think we went a little long on this one. How long, Phipps?
I don't think so. I think we did breaks.
Okay.
We started.
Yeah.
late.
All right. That's it, guys. Hey, at Ian Lieberman, at what are you?
On social media?
Social media.
I'm not on it anymore. I got off it.
I don't think I'm at it.
Every once in a while you like something.
I don't know.
Post a picture of my dog.
What is it?
You're
Is
still
it
on
at
yeah.
Mike _Tousignant?
Man, he's
I don't fucking
something. Type Mike Tousignant.
Yeah.
If Mikey Mike Phipps, what are you, Phipps? What is it again? Mikey Mike _ Phipps. I'm at Fire Marshal 205. Ours is Easton at Easton_Online. We have the special going on right now. Get you to 100 members. Literally, just DM me. Just DM me. Just DM me. DM Phipps. We'll get to you. We'll get you this. You need 100 members? We got you. The curriculum is going to launch. Phipps, when's this damn curriculum launching? This week. We're going to be done with the curriculum. It will be out next week, taking you through all of this stuff. More than you can imagine. Culture, product, sales, marketing, core values, principles, the whole 9 yards of exactly how it is. Step by step, we do our schools. You walk through it. Worksheets, homework. Get your shit done. Understanding where your money is. It's an amazing curriculum. The best curriculum for online martial arts I've ever written. So I haven't written that many. But anyway, get your curriculum. That is $199 a month. So man, the price of one student. You choose. Where are you at? You got 5. You got under 100. We'll get you to 100. You got over 100. Curriculum $199. One student. What's it worth to you? Let's go.